Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Governing Board of the Library District of Citrus County regular meeting. It is January 22nd at 9 a.m. And Diana, would you like to give the invocation and lead the pledge?
If you're able, please rise. Father in heaven, thank you for this day that you've blessed us with. We pray for your wisdom and guidance as we conduct business here today throughout this meeting and the next. We love you. We praise you. We ask for everyone to understand your will and your heart and not our own, and that we conduct ourselves accordingly. I pray that you be with those in our military and our first responders that are keeping us safe. We love you and we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a governing body of the Library District of Citrus County Board meeting on this 22nd day of January 2024. In attendance are Chair Holly Davis, First Vice Chair Rebecca Bays, Second Vice Chair Diana Finnegan, Commissioners Jeff Kennard and Ruthie Schleba, Inverness City Council Member Jackie Heffer, County Administrator Steve Howard, and County Attorney Denise A. Diamond-Line.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to do open to the public, but as a reminder, we are still testing the numbered system for the month of January. So be prepared to walk to the podium prior to, just keep track of who's up here and the numbers. It's pretty obvious. So essentially, if your number is 1 through 5, be ready to leap into action. Please hand your completed purple card to the clerk. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If you're registered with us officially as a group, you may have 5 minutes to speak. All comments to be directed to the chair. And citizens at the podium, please state for the record your name and address. And we're ready to go with number 1.
This is not a...
Name and address, please.
I'm sorry. Gil Phelan, Lecanto. People of faith have to lead. This is not a Republican versus Democrat or liberal versus conservative issue. This is a fight between good and evil. You know, the queer Marxist leader of the ALA, she's self-avowed, loves the Marxist method of using useful idiots. That's a person propagandizing from a bad cause, from an evil source. Mr. Mozo said something about Jesus, and I agree that Jesus, if he would have seen a couple of gay guys walking down in Capernaum, would have called them inside. But I think as a rabbi and teacher, he would have taught them Leviticus 20:13. If a man lies with a man as a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. And listening to April McLaughlin, this is from your Sissy, a coming of age story. I want you to understand, telling a boy not to wear a dress is spiritual murder. Oh, it should go without saying, fuck capitalism.
Beg pardon? No.
That's
No,
from the...
I'm sorry.
That's a quote from the book in
It
the
doesn't
library
matter.
for children
It doesn't
read.
matter. There's a, pause this time, please. I hope to not have to read this, but
Okay.
any person's making,
I didn't make that. That's in the book.
it
That's in
doesn't
the book
matter.
that
It
they have in the
doesn't
library.
matter. It doesn't matter. This is, we have dignified chambers here, so please keep it dignified.
No dignified books for children. Okay, gotcha.
If you had said
makes
F,
sense.
we would have known what it was,
But
and
the
it would have been a
children
little
can
bit
sit
better.
Madam
The
Chairman,
children can sit there and
Madam
read that.
Chairman, point of order.
Yes.
No profanity in this chambers, and he's arguing with you.
No profanity, no impertinence, no slanderous remarks, no boisterousness, or you will be asked to leave the chambers.
Okay, gotcha.
Carry on, start the time.
Gotcha.
Thank you. And No clapping, but thank you.
I love what people stand up for, huh? And let's see, it's also full of the Marxist talking points, white supremacy, intersectionality. God is a transgender woman of color. At the age of 8, I often thought about killing myself. You know, what kind of absolute garbage are you letting in our libraries? And you said you don't care. McLaughlin said she doesn't really care what books the children get. You say the library is such a jewel, yet you treat your children like trash. These garbage books target children specifically. What don't you understand about that? And Ms. Brennan, talking about chasing elephants that don't exist. What this is called is mass psychosis, because we can all see the results of the queer agenda and DEI. Like the nuclear official guy in a dress that went to jail stealing women's suitcases at the airport and then wearing their clothes. How about Richard Levine, a fake admiral with fake medals and a penis, and winning the Woman of the Year award? How about the guys in women's sports, the guys in girls' locker rooms, children getting mutilated, cutting off their body parts? And really the topper for me was reading the FAA DEI stuff. We want to place special emphasis in hiring people with complete paralysis,
Thank you, Mr.
severe
Phelan.
intellectual
Thank you,
disability.
Mr. Phelan.
Yeah.
Doug, would you mind putting the timer up so we can see the lights? Thanks. Plus, it's a little more in front of their eyes. It normally lives up here, no?
No, it's just tucked in behind. I got it.
Next speaker.
Good morning, Madam Chairman. My name is Bob Bramlet, 1107 West Beagle Run Loop, Hernando. Been a resident here for about 3 years. I'm here to submit my name for candidacy for appointment to the library board. A lawyer, accountant. We moved down here 3 years ago. My background is one that I was an elected official for our Flossmoor trustee position on the library. The mayor asked me to run, and in 2005, I was successful at doing that for 4 terms. Some of the things that we did were from my legal and strategic background. We instituted a 5-year strategic plan. We met monthly, but quarterly we reviewed the milestones that were achieved. 2 of the things that we did that I was pleased with was we put in a reserve system so that when we need a new paint, bookcases, paint, HVAC improvements, we had reserves there. We work with our outside auditors and also the village director of finance and our bookkeeper. The other thing we did was we instituted a system to really supplement and coordinate with our schools. The librarian went over and met every year with the director of curriculum for our grade schools, the 5 schools, plus our Catholic school. And so when the kids came into the library, oops, I forgot my book. No, that's okay. We have books for you. When the kids came in, we also had things that were supplementing and complementing what they had done in school. For those kids who were struggling a little bit, we brought in the National Honor Society people from the high school to help them with their math primarily. I would be pleased for your consideration for appointment to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brimlett. Number 3. Y'all look at I'm sure y'all can see the numbers on your cards. Number 4 is on deck, so be ready.
My name is Ray Kovski. I reside at 4551 East Viewtop Lane in Inverness. It's in the county. This is a serious thing that we're dealing with here. one time, many years ago, Thomas Jefferson was appointed by George Washington as ambassador to New York. And even then, this was after the Revolutionary War, he said, New York is a human cesspool of moral deprivation. And we don't want our libraries to be that way today. And when we continue to do these things, I've been around people that were in the movement. I was in the entertainment industry years ago, and we got along. They wouldn't advocate what's going on in these libraries today. You talk about the libs of TikTok, talk about the gays against grooming, child grooming. These people are against all these things. There's a few individuals with a lot of power and a lot of money in back of them that are pushing this agenda. And I want to name some conservative names that we should have on that library board. And these should be Edith Ramlow, Marie Flane Ebbets, and we should appoint Lenora Nelson, Mark Conley, and Mike O'Connell. These people would probably be much better than the people that are on there now. Just like the fellow before me said, these people, Anthony Wayne Moso, you know, he was on a library board. He wanted to make his apostles queer. I mean, it's just, I mean, the man was right. I don't advocate saying the F word or anything like that, but you got to call a spade a spade. And evil is evil. And I tell you what, this stuff is not good for our children. And I voted for Rebecca Bayes, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I did, because you endorsed Terry Morriston, who is one of these advocates for all this rainbow queer theory stuff that's going on in the library. And I mean, we've got to put a stop to this.
Madam
It's
Chair.
not right.
Madam
Okay,
Chair,
thank you.
Comments will be directed at the chair.
Thank you. Come on. The number system is definitely going to fail if people are not teed up and ready to go. Because I don't want to make the meetings longer. If you're number 3, are you number, okay, then come on up. Okay, anyone that's up can come on up at this point.
My name is Mark Conley. I'm number 5. Good morning. I live in Hernando, 4312 North Baywood Drive. I moved to Citrus County about a little more than 6 years ago. I have been active in the community. I've been a member of my homeowners association board for as long as I've been here. And when I was living in Los Angeles, I was member of the community watch in the 2 communities that I lived in during that period. I'm a retired attorney, and I think that I could, I'm a candidate for the library board. I think that I could bring skills and insights to the board that would be helpful in its operations. I'm running for the Library Advisory Board because I think that the board needs to have a more balanced representation of community values. Several years ago, I actively campaigned against the gay pride displays in the library. And I was glad that my wife and myself, among others, were instrumental in getting those removed and getting the library board to decide not to put them back in the following year. I also spoke against the membership in the American Library Association because I think that the American Library Association, they provide good services, but they also have an ideological agenda that they are trying to pass along through the libraries and policies involved in the libraries. I do think that the libraries are there to serve the people, and in doing that service, they should reflect community values, and they should not be picking an ideological agenda that they promote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Conley. Most of the front row is open, so if you have a low number card, you're also welcome to sit in the front row just to be comfortable.
I'm gonna have trouble with this, but I'm gonna try it. My name's Lee Klein, I live in Sugar Mill. I came today to express my opinions. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for what you do. As a Citrus County resident, I strongly oppose indoctrination and I strongly support education. I believe the library board is a place not to pursue personal agendas. I asked the board to give consideration to retain Mary Elaine Ebbets and Edith Ramlow, also to consider appointment of Lenora Jones Nelson, Mike O'Connell, or John Labriola. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is April Winnock, and I'm a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother.
And where do you live?
I live in Hernando, and I also have been a nurse by career, an RN. What I'm here for is, it's not here to say that I'm homophobic, like that's been the label for conservatives and Christians. Not at all. Anybody that knows me, I've had friends that are of that. But what I'm saying is that's not what this is about. This is about protecting our children. We don't want our children exposed to these things. They've got enough on their plate. And we, as the adults, the mothers, the teachers, the librarians, we need to make sure they get quality education. Quality education does not include this agenda that's going on. Quality education includes making them a whole human being. We all know that. I am here to hope that we will vote in the conservative people like Lenore Jones, John Labriola, and there's some others, Michael O'Connell, Richard Matherson. But I really want us in all good consciousness as parents and teachers, what do we really want for our children today? What is going to add to their experience in education? We want them to get the best. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Patrick Goodman, and I live in Sugar Mill Woods. I did a little bit of research, and according to the latest Gallup poll, the number of people in the United States that claim to be part of the LGBTQIA+ community is 7.2%. That's twice what it was 10 years ago, all right? And of that 7.2%, more than half claim to be bisexual. So that means that the lesbian, the gay, and the transgender are less than 3.6%. The point that I would like to make is that that is a very small portion of our population. And they're entitled to representation on the library board. But I don't think that any one group should be entitled to more representation than others, to the detriment of others. And I implore you to select folks for the library board that represent our community. And you folks, more than anyone else, understand the views of our community. I implore you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Say, a few months ago, I think the board had a consensus that
I need your name and
You want my name?
residence.
Yeah, I'm Doug Ford from Floral City. a few months ago, the board pretty much had a consensus that the views of the American Library Association were far too extreme for the advisory board of our library. And so I just wanted to encourage you to select people on the advisor board that, oppose the views of the American Library Association.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name's April McLaughlin, 5175 Paiute Drive in Beverly Hills. I'm currently on the Library Advisory Board, and I'm asking to be reappointed. Also, the members that are on there, we have a very diverse board that are starting to get back to work together again now that we have a full board. We have 2 almost new members and 1 brand new member, so that we can continue with some continuity. I'm asking to reappoint the people that have asked to be reappointed, and so that we can continue on. Some of the things that have been said here today are blatantly untrue. There is no sexual orientation in the library, never has been, never will be. Our library serves the entire community. If there is a process in place that has been reviewed by the board, by legal, and by the library director, there is a process in place. If anyone has a problem with any materials in the library, they're certainly welcome to direct that, and we will, as an advisory board, we will take a look at it and advise the library. That's what we do. So some of the misconception about school versus public library, there is a big difference, and we have no oversight or advisory to the schools, just to the public library system, which is a jewel, we think, in our county. So again, I'm just asking that you reappoint those that have asked so that we can continue with some continuity, since we do have some new members and everyone seems to have different ideas, which we like, different input, and I think that makes for a very balanced board. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Carrie McLaughlin. I'm coming here from Crystal River. I've written something I'd like to read. As a mother and frequent library visitor, I find great comfort in a vibrant, inviting children's space. We split our winter months between Cape May, New Jersey and Crystal River so that our 3-year-old may enjoy the sunshine and company of our local family here in Citrus County. For us, the education that comes with travel and experience is unparalleled. The Citrus County Library System, in my view, has really been a champion for the enrichment of the local youth. The programs are plentiful, welcoming, intelligent, and a useful tool for fostering a love of books and knowledge. We own property and may well become full-time residents here. We are conservative, and we hold our family and values in high esteem. It is invaluable to have commissioners that grow the county and represent the community's values responsibly and fairly. Currently, the attention given to the library is of interest to me because it is a lifeline for any parent or caregiver. And the county has gotten us right so far. As this special place becomes ever more popular, visited, and moved to, it is imperative that the good citizens and voters of this county continue in the fashion that they have, constructively, carefully, inclusively. I believe all anybody can strive for is to be surrounded by neighbors and representatives who appreciate conservative growth, the importance of hard work, going to work, and education, and an individual's rights to enjoy all the county has to offer, most importantly, in my opinion, to enjoy this beautifully organized library. I believe that what has been going on with this pop-up extremist group is detrimental to the county and the way that most of we conservatives are viewed as a whole. Remember the voices of those who have homes, property, children, and a vested interest here. It is we who predominantly utilize the services offered. Those who've failed elsewhere shouldn't bring their poison to a fruitful orchard. This place is beautiful, it is special, and it's inclusive. And that shouldn't be something that ever goes away just because of the beliefs of a few extremists. Nobody disagrees with maybe what they're saying completely. Everybody picks and chooses the pieces that they like to listen to and that they agree with. And we have to remember that that is got to be fair to everybody. So just in closing, I love these libraries. I have a lot to compare to. Everywhere that I go, my family that we visit all over the country, we go to the libraries. And this system is really well run, and we really enjoy everything that it does offer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Corey McLaughlin, Crystal River. So I'd like to start by saying that the Citrus County Library, it's a place of community. The county's growing at an impeccable rate, probably one of the highest rates in the country. You guys, the commissioners, you have a very, very important decisions to make during the influx of this growth. The vote today is not about personal political affiliation, but it's about the direction of the library system. Currently, the Citrus County Library is full with a feeling of life, love, and comfort. I bring my child there. It's a great place. Everyone's happy. Everyone is very kind to each other. The reason I'm really speaking today, though, is because I've read some things online about some of the incumbent members that are simply not true. I can speak firsthand as a Christian, conservative, about how I was raised to be a great neighbor, a father, and an American. April McLaughlin spends a lot of her time, money, and energy on this library position and cares for all the people in the library, not just herself. I feel this is an important part of the position as this county grows. So let me just say, I know she is not in favor of drag queen story time. I know she's not in favor of grooming children. I know April McLaughlin is definitely not a liberal, but a conservative Republican. These are the types of things that are in writing by the Citrus Crusader that are false statements. I do not know the full intentions of this blog, but anyone who is endorsed by this hate group should not be considered for these positions. I believe a lot of people are confused about the actual mission of this hate group. So just to clear the air, I want to urge people to do their own research on the candidates before believing false statements by this group. Going forward, I hope the commissioners never consider anyone the library guy endorses as is a cancer to the community. He's already been removed from one community for hate, so we should remove him from this one as well. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Cindy Redmond. I live in Hernando. Good morning to you all. I want to say throughout history, there have been incidences of book banning and burning. The largest known created the Dark Ages when the Roman Catholic Church decided that people could not think for themselves lest they challenged the clergy. This lasted several centuries until people like Wycliffe printed a Bible to be used by others outside the priesthood. Moving ahead to the past century, Hitler had books burned if they said anything he did not approve of. China, under the Cultural Revolution, threw out anything that did not support their regime and executed those who verbalized any type of resistance. So did Joseph Stalin. Now, this state and county are being threatened with the same type of censure. Instead of attempting to expand minds with ideas and thoughts like Socrates and Plato, there are those who are asking for an appointment to the lab to curtail this process. They believe that by reading or having any type of exposure to certain media or literature means that their children cannot use their brains to make a rational thought of their own. So these naysayers will give the argument that it is only LGBT issues that are being targeted because these people are sinful. Let's take a quick look at that as well. Most of the verses in the Bible about homosexuality are found in the Old Testament. Well, unless you're a Jewish, that doesn't apply. Christians, or these people are using the argument, but saying that they're a Christian. Okay, so let's take a look at the New Testament. In 1 Corinthians, there are several categories of people that will not inherit the kingdom of God. This includes, but is not limited to fornicators, idolaters, adulterers, drunkards, and extortioners. Why is it these book banning people are only focused on one category? Is it okay to be a drunkard? Is it okay to read about people having affairs? There are more people in these other groups than there are homosexuals. There's one other point I want to make. These individuals are stating they want all literature to be removed that even mentions gay or homosexual. With that premise in mind, then the Bible itself would have to be excluded because it does mention men having sex with other men. The Bible also talks about incest, murder, and rape. Are you going to exclude the Bible as well? In the Declaration of Independence, it states that people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Are you going to appoint people to the lab to oppose the Declaration? It is my right of liberty to read what I want. It is my right of the pursuit of happiness to not have to worry that someone is stopping this from happening. If you don't want your children to read something, then stop them from checking it out, but don't stop on my rights.
Thank you, ma'am. No clapping.
Good morning, everyone. Madam Chairwoman, excuse me.
Oh, chair's fine.
Okay. Sorry. I had attended the last board county.
Name and where you live?
I'm sorry, Anita Albeck Tooker, Lecanto, Florida.
Thank you.
I had attended the commissioner meeting of November 28th. I was disturbed by the man who continues to make false statements about pornography in the libraries, brainwashing children to become gay or change their gender, and mutilating children. I realize that some commissioners have challenged his non-fact-based statements, but it should happen every time. I also realize residents have the right to speak their opinions. I also apologize for the disrespect this person showed during the ceremony honoring Ms. Schlebach and Ms. Davis. So much for his, quote, Christian coalition. I wonder if the same would have happened if two men were being honored. My next concern is lobbyist Labriola and his obsession with immigrants, as well as book banning. He seems to forget the separation of church and state, but perhaps the Bible should be banned as well. Regarding immigrants, this Christian Labriola went as far as alleging an illegal immigrant with this November carjacking in Floral City, when in fact it was a drunk white American guy. I have the article if anybody wants to read it. Since his last name is Labriola, I imagine there are immigrants in his family. I also question many of the followers actually live in Citrus County, since no ID is required to speak here. We just put our addresses down. He has fomented so many lies and succeeded in banning the ALA because the leader, who has no power in this county, identified as a lesbian Marxist. Again, so much for freedom to be who we are. Labriola has lost his lawsuit in South Florida, but he should not be given any more power in this county. I have lived here almost 50 years. I am an RN who has practiced nursing in this county for 46 years. I have taken care of your children, your parents, your siblings, and I have never seen so much harm and divisiveness. We need to do better. Mr. Labriola seems to forget that Jesus would feed the immigrants. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Michael Nappy, 6300 East Anadrome Drive, Inverness, Florida. I'm a resident and a homeowner and a Christian in Citrus County. A lot of people, I've been to many of these meetings, and everybody wants to come up here passionately and want you to decide which side is right and which side is wrong and be their judge. Well, you're not their judge. God is going to judge everybody. It's your job to represent us fairly. As far as the library issue, it's not about the content, and I haven't heard anybody say they want all the material removed. They didn't want it placed in everybody's face as soon as they walked in the library. It's a parent's right to choose when their child decides, learns about the birds and the bees and gay and lesbian and all that stuff. And putting it in their face when they walk in the library makes the library not a safe place for the child to go. A good parent is an engaged parent. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here. It's your job to represent us. So we ask that you represent us fairly. And at these meetings, it seems that we have, no doubt, a conservative community here. So we ask that we have a conservative majority on the library board. And we ask that you stay away from the ALA. We ask that you say no to April McLaughlin, Neela Brennan, and Anthony Wayne Monzo. And I don't think you can find a better person for it for John Labriola. I think he's been slandered so much here that maybe he should change his name to Donald Trump. Anyway, we say yes to Edith Ramlow, Maria Elena Levitz, Lenora Nelson, Mark Conley, Michael Connell, and John Labriola. Thank you very much for your time. God bless you.
Good morning. Thank you for listening to us today. My name is Ronda War from Floral City. I'm a homeowner here. I'm here because this really matters a lot to my heart. This is an important issue. I am a conservative, and I pray that you choose some conservative members to be on this library advisory board. We are all called to be salt and light. Salt preserves, and that is to preserve goodness and righteousness, truth. And for me, the Bible is truth. I try to live by it the best I can. Scripture came to my mind today that a little leaven leavens the whole lump. Okay, that means that a little bit of corruption or evil can spread. So we do want to prevent that because those immoral things can lead on to more. And there's the saying that deceived people don't know that they're deceived, okay? It can lead on to human trafficking, exploitation of children sexually. It's happened in our country. You can see what's happening all around. It's a mess, okay? But God's still leading and helping his children to be the salt and light. I just really encourage you to reappoint Elaine Ebitz and Edith Ramlow. I believe they're conservative morals also, they have those. And to appoint Lenora Nelson, Mark Conley, and John Labriola or Michael Connell. I know John Labriola, that he has a heart for what is right for families, for betterment of our county and the children. And he really cares. He's devoted his life to this issue so that we don't have a lot of perversion, and he tries to, root that out before it does grow and cause more damage to our society. So I'm thankful for people like that, and pastors also who will stand up and speak the truth. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. I can't read my own writing, so bear with me.
You can start with name and where you live.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Rita Fox, not a Christian, not a Republican. I don't really care what religion anybody practices. I don't care if you don't practice a religion. I don't even care how you vote. I hope you do vote, but I don't care who you vote for. That is your right in this country. But libraries are public institutions. I am so tired of coming to these meetings and hearing people go on about what great Christians they are and how conservative this is, and every board, including yours, should reflect the community. Well, I've got news for the people in this room. The only person that reflects my values heads the mosquito board, yet I pay taxes here, okay? This is not about if you support, I'm not even going to say his name, but this is a matter of, in my opinion, a group of, and yes, this is my own terminology, evil jellicles trying to tell the rest of us what we can or cannot read in our public libraries. I personally would like to see 50% conservatives, 50% liberals. That's the only way people are going to get to become more enlightened, more educated. Books do not indoctrinate people. Religion does. Books don't, okay? They just don't. Stop trying. This is for all you religious evangelicals. You need to stop trying to impose your religious beliefs, which, although I am not a scholar of the Bible, I can guarantee you I live my life more Christian than most of the people that I hear speaking every time I come here. I feed the hungry. I try and keep people clothed. I don't judge people by who they love. I don't judge people by what movies they go to. I don't want to see that movie. You know what? I'm not going to go. I don't want to read a book that you love. I'm not going to read it. If you don't want your children to be indoctrinated by a book in a public library, then by goodness, go with them. Okay? Bring them up just like you, filled with hate and no understanding of other human beings. Every single person in this county has the right to be represented, and I want to see that on the library board. I, as a citizen and a taxpayer of this county, say no to Mr. Labriola being on this board because he represents everything that inspires hate in other people that don't have the common sense to think for themselves. Support our First Amendment. Thank you.
Ms. Fox, come back to the mic just to state where you live for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. LaCanto.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Betty Honkin, I also live in LaCanto. Okay. I checked this as I came in to confirm it before I came up here and said this, but there is a form. In fact, I understand there may be more than one form that parents can utilize in the schools to opt their children out of certain things. If they don't want them to hear a lesson on the birds and the bees, they can opt out. If they are studying a certain book, which of course is difficult now here in this state because so many books have been pulled from the shelves. But if they, let's say they wanted to read Anne Frank's diary and they were going to study it, if the parents do not want their children to participate, they can opt out. Why can't we do that in the library? If there are books in the library that certain parents do not want their children interested in, couldn't there be an opt-out form available for them that they can sign and say, this is not, my child is not to check this book out. I don't believe in that. And that way you would allow the parents to have more input to what their children see or what they participate in. And I think that's a generous way to do it, because that way it frees up all the people who want their children to read Anne Frank's diary, which has been banned, or I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings is another one that has been banned, a wonderful book. You want to educate our students, and they need to have the rights to read what they should be reading to continue their education. But the parents could have a say in that by having the opt-out form at the public libraries. I also am up here to support the candidacy for the library board of Burke Regan, who will be speaking in a few moments. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Mary K Pavalonis, and I live at 4062 North Long Valley Road in Hernando. As the governing body of the Library District of Citrus County, you have an extremely important job to accomplish today. You will make the decision to appoint 5 of the candidates to the Library Advisory Board. I hope that you will reappoint Neil Brennan, Mari Elaine Ebbets, April McLaughlin, and Edith Ramlow. I believe that everybody that sits on the board brings qualifications to be on that board. They may not be the same, but they all work together, and things seem to be working well, in my opinion. So I would like you to reappoint those members so they can continue their work on behalf of all the people that live in Citrus County. Thank you very much, and thank you for what you do for us on a daily basis. Appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Madam Chairman, board members. My name is Burke Regan. I am submitting my name for the Special Library Advisory Board. Just a little bit of background information. I'm a Vietnam veteran, parent, grandparent. I live at 610 East Jenkins Court, Hernando, sorry. A parent, a grandparent. I was a school counselor and teacher in public education for 35 years. I've lived in Hernando for about 8 years. Since I came here, I've used the library quite a bit. I volunteered at the Reading Pals program. I want to say that I fully support the library system. It's a great place. I have no axe to grind. I'm fairly open-minded. And I think that someone on the board should represent the whole community and listen to everyone, what everyone has to say, and try to make honest and fair decisions about literature presented to the kids. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name's Andrew Macros. I'm from Citrus Springs, Florida. I've been a resident here for 34 years, tax-paying, and I just feel the need to ask to protect the children. You know, if there's stuff of sexual natures, whether it's transgender or any of that weird stuff, you know, put it in the back. Put it for adults only. Pornography, put it in the back. Put it for adults only. Children need to be children. You know, they don't need to be indoctrinated or biased or steered in any direction. You know, let them be children. And I'd like to say that I would like to keep Marie Elaine Ebbets, Edith Ramlow, Mark Conley, Lenora Jones Nelson, and Mike O'Connell. You know, not keep them, but, you know, consider them for the open positions. And I'd also like to say that, you know, I'm a fairly new Christian, and I've read in the Bible that people that steer these children in the wrong direction into areas that may be evil, they'd be better to have a millstone put around their neck and be dropped into the sea. And I believe that. You know, this world is not the end. There's more coming. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Greg Hoing, Floral City. There was a woman who was up here earlier that tried to tell us that there was never any LGBTQ displays or materials in the libraries. Well, you all may remember the LGBTQ displays in the children's sections that thankfully are no longer there. After receiving a tip, I went to the library, and sure enough, in the teenage section on display was a book, and after reading the synopsis, I learned that it was about a teenage boy having sexual relationships with his uncle. Now, in the past, these pornographic materials were kept in a locked room. You had to have an ID to get in. No longer. And there seems to be a misconception that conservative people hate gays, and that's simply not true. If you'll notice, every conservative speaker, it was all about the children. After a certain age, people can live their lives however they want. But how are children going to get a moral compass when everything is okay, when there is no right and wrong? This is the responsibility of the schools and the libraries. So I urge you to reappoint Marie Edith Ibbets, Edith Ramlow, and appoint to the vacant positions Mark Connolly, Lenora Nelson, Mike O'Connell, or John Labriola. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Dean Bales, 11 Homosassa Springs, and I'll try not to mention anyone's name specifically, either in who I am supporting or am against, not just because I'm bad at remembering names, which is true,
Could
but
you,
because it's what
excuse
I've
me,
talked
could you
about.
say your name and address, please?
Dean Bales from Homosassa Springs.
Thank you.
Thought I said that, but
You might have.
anyway, I just want to talk about the general nature of what's going on and help you hopefully make a better decision. The clear and present danger of censorship is not coming from the open and honest conservatives who clearly on top of the table will tell you there's things that are bad and ought not to be in a library. The real danger is from the sneaky, underhanded, I'll call them leftists politely, but their ideology bears more resemblance to sociopath ideology of what they, how they operate. And but a true liberal is not that bad a person. You always hear, oh, those liberals, well, wait a minute now. A liberal is a libertarian, lib as in liberty. And you don't hear that talked very much because it seems to have dropped down the memory hole of so many people. And the reason why is because a lot of these sneaky, underhanded leftists talk the language of liberalism, open, free access to information. You make your own mind up. You don't impugn upon other people what you believe and force your beliefs upon them, and tolerance and diversity. And oh, doesn't that sound good? Except that it's a fraudulent virtue signal. Take a look at who's really censoring in a devious, underhanded way. When the Bible is censored, who does the censoring? We know it's the same left-wing crowd with the same shared parroted ideology, with the same agendas that seem to be shifting their goalposts, and they all move together like a swarm of locusts. So yeah, I won't mention anybody's name as to who they ought not to appoint, but keep that in mind. You'll know them by their language, by their virtue signaling, which you kind of have a voice in your head that says, I don't think they really believe that. They're maneuvering around an elephant in the room, and just something doesn't add up. And that little voice of reason is telling you the truth. So just keep that in mind. Oh, well, about 2 years ago, I spoke about psychological manipulation and how on Wikipedia there's an excellent website. Psychiatrist George Simon, and it was a list of 20 tactics of psychological manipulation. Guess what? Got censored off. They say it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as psychological manipulation. Okay, well, you say that's Wikipedia. No, but it's happening place after place. It's happening in libraries. It's happening in newspapers. Even the people that speak, you see they're censoring themselves. They won't tell you the nature of the books that are being opposed. They don't tell you, okay, it's a sexual encounter between a man and a boy.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Next, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kevin Ballard. I live in Inverness, and my wife and I have been residents here since 1991. I've appeared before you several times on this issue because I have a firm conviction. What I am passionate about is not the banning of books. No, I think that libraries should have a full array of books and represent the full array of diversity we have in our beautiful community. But my passion is that we do have what I call, you can call it limited access, or I call it age-appropriate access. That I believe that one of the responsibilities of the Library Advisory Board is to partner with parents and guardians in our community and to limit access, not to ban them, but limit access to minors regarding human sexuality, gender identity, the defining of marriage, defining of the family unit. I believe that when an advisory board member does this, they're partnering with us, the parents, grandparents, and guardians of our precious children. I welcome diversity on the board. I welcome different worldviews on the board. There's nothing wrong with that. I do ask that you'd please consider John Labriola as one of the board members. I know that he's a lightning rod for some, but I know him personally. And what is wrong with having diverse views on any one of our boards? And I also recommend, finally, for those who are concerned about diversity, please read Doris Kearns Goodwin's book, The Genius of Abraham Lincoln, Team of Rivals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Pete Horner. I live at Ryan Street in Inverness. I just basically think that there's so many things out there that are just indecent, and I really don't think we need that right at the front door of the library. It should be, you know, everybody has a right to an opinion. The First Amendment, you know, does have restrictions, and I believe common decency should be one of them. And I'm just urging you to put responsible people on the board that are not, you know, supporting this homosexuality and not, you know, not, there's just so much of it around already. If you turn on the TV, you can see two men kissing, and it's just not decent behavior. Children shouldn't be subject to that. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Leas Ballis from Pine Ridge. First off, I'd like to just start off by saying John Labriola is a friend of mine. He's a good man. He's a follower of Christ. I've heard people come up here and quote scripture or take scripture out of context. I'm a believer. I'm a follower of Christ as well. I just want to make a few points here this morning. As a resident, I don't want pornographic material in the library. State law does govern this. We have an obligation as parents to guard our children's hearts and minds. And so I've heard the term like expand their minds and open their minds. This is the agenda of the LGBTQ lobby. I heard us referred to this morning as evangelicals, filled with hate, cancer to the community, non-inclusive, comparing us to Hitler, homophobic. And I'm not afraid of homosexuals. I'm afraid of where they're going when they die. That's what I'm afraid of. I just think that the Bible is clear on homosexuality. I know you guys you guys have a difficult decision to make, but as public servants, I would hope that I've heard several people up here say that you represent the community. This community is conservative. We do not condone LGBTQ agenda. I've heard different percentages of you know, what percentage of the population is LGBTQ? 3.7, 7 point whatever. I don't know what it is. I would suspect it's less than 1%. But that's having so many people on the library board that represent that view is disproportionate to what the county looks like demographically. That's just a fact. If you have 4 or 5 library board members that are liberals or leaning liberal, that doesn't represent the community. That's 4 or 5 out of 9. That's half or more than half. So I think that a few other thoughts. One of the things that these books promote is a marriage between a man and a man or a woman and a woman. God instituted marriage between one man and one woman, and there's only 2 genders, male and female. That's what the Bible says. It's been portrayed that, you know, we're full of hate speech. I speak the truth. If people perceive that as hate speech, so be it. But sometimes the truth is hard, okay? And so I'm here to speak the truth. I would hope that we speak the truth in love. I'm going to ask the board to please reappoint Edith Ramlow and Mary Elaine Ebbets, and also appoint Lenora Nelson, Mark Conley, and John Labriola to the 3 other seats. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Tom Inglot. I live at Citrus Hills in Terra Vista. And I got to say, I'm kind of new to all this. John Labiola, in some of the local meetings that I attend. He kind of put me onto it. I read a lot about it. And I gotta say, I admire the man. I admire what he's doing, and I support him. I'm never really got into politics, probably till 2015 when I really got fed up with it. And I've been down here 7 years and we love it. I'm from upstate New York. I got 4 grandsons who are everything to me, and they're all under 10. And I've contacted our school board up there, which is a really good school board, to make sure that they weren't indoctrinating our children with this stuff. I don't really care what they do after they get out of high school. Whatever they choose to do, that's fine with me. But to have it in the library, so wrong. You know, it's not right. And to push this on young children that are just starting to grow, to me is just so wrong, and I'm so against it. So being friends with John and learning more and more and reading more and more, I want to be involved. You know, I'm retired and I've got time, and a lot of this stuff is very interesting to me. I joined Friends of the Library, you know, I think last December or November, and I've only been to 2 meetings, but I was kind of impressed, you know, what they did. They seemed like a good group. The head of the library, I heard her talk, and I don't know her, but she seemed good. She said the right things that I wanted to hear. And a lot of people here have said the right things, but a lot of them, I gotta say, oh my God, I can't believe what they're saying. But those are my beliefs. I was raised a Christian, went to Catholic school my entire life, grade school, high school. I was an altar boy, and thank God I didn't hit any pedophile priest, because being a Catholic, and I know some of these priests, and I know one of them, my son, was coached by him. And I gotta say, sorry, but it made me sick to think that this man, who I had actually went to confession to, was not what I want to be. So, hey,
Thank you, sir.
thanks.
Hi, it's great to see you all. Happy New Year. Lori Pettengill from Homosassa Springs, beautiful Homosassa Springs. Very good friend of John Labriola's. I think he's one of the most amazing, remarkable community members that we have, and we're so fortunate to have him. I think the library board would be so fortunate to have him. Who here that was currently on the board discovered how radical the American Library Association was? It was John. Who here realized that there were displays that were inappropriate for children in our libraries? It was John. John's the active person you will need on the board, the person that's a watchdog for what's right, wrong, good, bad, and for the children, because he loves the children. I watched a documentary yesterday called Art Club. It was unbelievable, and I recommend everybody watch that documentary, because what you realize is it doesn't take much to really influence children's minds. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Stan Derzega. I'm from Inverness, just around the corner over here. And Madam Chairman and fellow board members, thank you for this time. I come from a long history of freedom fighters. I was directly involved with the Solidarity Movement for the freedom of Poland. And I see a lot of tactics that are used by infiltration groups that are very similar to what I've seen in the past. And I'm not going to go into this topic here. But my main point and request to this board is that we are a constitutional, and from a constitution perspective, a representative republic, that we should represent the majority of what the citizenry is here. And in my recommendation is to reappoint Edith Ramblow, Mary Ellen Ebbets, consider Lenora Nelson, Mark Conley, Michael Connell, and John Labriola to represent the group. But my overall request is to represent the community here. I think there should be representation, even no matter what spectrum of we are, the far right, far left, we are all one family. But I want to make sure that we represent the community with conservative viewpoints as this community is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Patty O'Connell, Floral City. I just want to say that they're not going to get the kids, and this is not going to stop the opposition. You do not have a constitutional right to give children pornographic, heterosexual, homosexual, whatever information. It's illegal, it's immoral, and it's not going to happen. And this is not going to stop unless you guys stop it. You guys set the agenda. There are community standards. There have always been community standards in every county, municipality in this nation. And people are not going to get to our children. People are going to be upset, whether they're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, etc. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It is immoral and disgusting to try to teach innocent children about any type of sexuality. And you guys are the standard bearers. You guys are the stop sign. So please do your job. Why do we even have to have this meeting? It is common sense. What kind of a degenerate people want to introduce children to sexual things? Do you think that's normal for even an adults to come up here and say that that's their agenda? Why? And I can tell you, I have teenage grandchildren. They are sick of this LBGT crap. They're tired of it. I mean, everywhere they go, there's signs, there's this, there's that. There's kids dressing up as I'm transitioning from this, I'm bio, I'm a boy this time, I'm a girl. They're sick of it. They're sick of the teachers teaching it. They're sick of the signs. They're sick of the rainbow. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna make the next generation totally against this garbage because they're pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And I don't even know why we have to have a meeting about this. You guys know what's wrong. Put a stop to it. You're in charge. You're in charge of guarding our children from what will harm them. And if you don't think introducing sexuality to small children and inviting them into any kind of this insanity is normal, then we need some new leaders. We shouldn't even have to have this meeting. You guys, please do your jobs. Protect the children. Thank you.
Ms. O'Connell, I actually agree with you that the only time that we even talk about this subject is from you guys. It's not happening in the library system. Next speaker.
Good, keep it that way.
Next speaker.
Keep it that way.
Good morning, board members. My name is John Labriola. I represent the Christian Family Coalition, so I would ask for the 5 minutes, and I did clear that with the director, even though I'm also a candidate. So I, first of all, I want to say, I'm overwhelmed by all the very kind comments from those who came up here and spoke about me. It's really humbling and really quite, overwhelming in terms of the support that I've just listened to over the last hour. So, and I didn't apply the last couple of times because I thought there were so many qualified people, but I decided to do so this time because I do feel that I am the most qualified to serve on this board. I've attended almost every single library advisory board meeting in the last 2.5 years. A little background about myself. My background is in journalism. I have served in government capacities, as well as currently I am the Christian Family Coalition Florida representative and lobbyist working in Tallahassee on a lot of the pro-family legislation that deal with some of these issues regarding LGBT indoctrination. Last year, there was a bill that we supported very strongly to ban sex change operations on children, which was very important. And what really we're talking about today, though, is something very simple. It's about representation. It's about if you have a 9-member board that's supposed to recommend policy and budgetary issues to you all, it should reflect the majority of the citizens of this county. And you've heard a lot of the rhetoric from the leftists that is the same stuff you've heard hurled over and over again against Donald Trump, Governor DeSantis. So I would ask you to just disregard that, because they do not represent the values of this community. You've seen, the polls, you've seen the past elections, 70+% of the people of this county support the policies that Governor DeSantis and this legislature has promoted over the last several years in terms of keeping this stuff out of the view of children and not having this indoctrination foisted upon the children. So a couple other points. I'm also the publisher of the Citrus Crusader, and I'm very well versed, obviously, on this issue. I think I know more about the library than almost pretty much any other applicant, including current members. So that's why I feel I can bring a lot to the board in terms of being able to represent the views of the community and be able to bring forward ideas that, of course, all of you are able to reject or accept. But I think a lot of the pressure upon all of you would go away, because this is a library advisory board that can recommend things to you, so you can hand it off to us to at least discuss them, so you don't have to have all the pressure. In terms of the back and forth over the last couple of years, we kept hearing, this hot potato of the LGBT space kept getting tossed back and forth and punted back here and there, and nobody wanted to claim responsibility. But we know now that the Library Advisory Board has a great deal to say about it, because when it came to the ALA, the Library Board decided, and this board decided to just not even consider it, let the Library Advisory Board decision stand. So it is very important that we have people on that board that represent, and I would just be one member, so I'm asking you to appoint me. And this arrogance on the other side that no conservatives and nobody that represents these views should be on the board is something you should totally reject as elected members of this body, because we do need representation. And the pride displays are gone because of our activism, but we need to make sure that people don't get back on that board, that will push for their return, as well as for a return to the ALA, because you don't want that hot potato right back on your plate. So again, I ask you to, you for the other names, but I would sincerely ask you to please appoint myself. And in terms of not accepting any of our recommendations, I mean, I heard some of the names, a couple of names from the other side that we're also supporting. We do support Edith Ramlow being reappointed. We support Mary Elaine Ebbets being reappointed. But we also want to see additional representation, because the board is kind of evenly divided right now, and we don't want it to swing the other way, where the ALA will come back as an issue to land back on your table. Thank you so much.
Robin Orlandi, Dunellen, Florida. Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. One thing, there's been a lot said, and I'm pretty emotional. I'll try to tamp it down. I'm a retired librarian. One thing that I notice about this body is that there are parents and children are absent because they're in school. Many of the people that I know in the community that disagree with Mr. Labriola's coalition's perspective, which has been presented over and over again, are not here because they're at work. I'm a member of multiple organizations in the community, this community, Citrus County, as well as other counties. There are many people that disagree with this focus and emphasis, this coach narrative about the evils of libraries, and specifically sexuality as a threat to our children. We know this. The biggest threat is through media, online, phones. The libraries are low-hanging fruit, and we have wonderful libraries in this community that do a terrific job. But I would be here to ask you to consider that the group of people that have spoken in favor of Mr. Labriola and his organization probably represent less than 1 or 2% of our county. The rest of the people are at work today. They're not here to speak for themselves. So I would say, I was raised a Christian. We're a diverse group. It's a diverse county that's growing, and our library's mission is to provide materials of interest to people of all persuasions for all types of information. I have a great book at home right now that is an illustrated history of the bathysphere dive into the deep in the Pacific. Well, while they're down there, however many 100,000 feet, excuse me, underwater, they're dreaming about what they're seeing. Is it God? Is it, they're dreaming about things that might be considered anti-Christian. And I wonder, could that book possibly be banned in a future when all of the candidates, like Mr. Labriola, that support these radical views have taken the board over? I think, good people get deceived. And he has friends here, that's fine. But I think if you simply Google his name, you will find out how he was thought of in other communities, and that he sows dissent and fear and misinformation, not community. It doesn't represent the larger community that we have here. So I would say to you, please choose a board that shows both sides. We're conservative. There's other voices here as well as conservative voices. And we have to be careful not to reducto ad absurdum, to reduce the topic of libraries to one point. Other services include adults,
Thank you,
hungry.
ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Good morning. I'm Nan Doyle. I live in Pine Ridge. Some of this you've heard before. I was employed by NOAA for 30 years as a geodesist. You all have heard geodesist before. So when GPS first came out, the military—
Please speak into the microphone. Thanks.
Sorry. When GPS started, the military did not want to share that accuracy with the public. I chaired a board of various federal agencies to discuss how sharing would not hurt the U.S. You all benefit from that knowledge today. Children are curious, like people were about GPS. They need to understand differences and make their own choices. Narrow visions do not help them in the end and will hurt their educations. I didn't plan to speak today, but hearing how limited this vision is, I had to come up. According to what I've heard today, the Bible would have to be excluded from our libraries because of its immoral contents. That's very, very narrow. Quality education depends on our libraries. We really don't want our children to learn from the unfiltered digital access they have today to computers and their phones. They need an education. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Michael Connell, Floral City. Good morning, Commissioners. We urge you to appoint conservative members to the Library Advisory Board who are in step with Citrus County's conservative values. Candidates who respect the dignity of each and every fellow citizen and who will act to protect the consciences of innocent children. I hope you were able to view the videos I emailed you of two current lab members, Chairwoman April McLaughlin and Vice Chair Neil Brennan, and two other current applicants, Terry Morriston and Anthony Wayne Mozo. The videos demonstrate these four candidates have repeatedly come to county board meetings to endorse, I repeat, to endorse LGBTQ pride displays aimed at children, the American Family Association, or both. As a result of current progressive board member policies, the Citrus County Library System and this commission have suffered through well-publicized controversies. Instead, we ask that you appoint well-vetted, non-controversial conservatives who won't use their position to advocate for LGBTQ displays for children or rejoining the American Library Association. This is all we ask. Reappoint Edith Ramlow and Marie Elaine Ebbets, the only current member applicants with conservative records. Secondly, appoint fellow conservatives who will work closely with them, as well as Justin Strickland and Elaine Clyde. The other conservative applicants are Lenora Nelson, Mark Conley, and my friend John Labriola, highly qualified gentleman, and Christian, true Christian. You know, in the short time since Citrus County broke ties with the ALA, 12 additional counties here in Florida have followed suit. Many other Florida counties had previously cut ties or were never associated with the ALA. This speaks volumes. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Abraham Lincoln opened one of his most famous speeches with these words in 1858, warning that the ideologically deeply divided nation could not continue in its course. With that in hindsight, we urge you, do not appoint progressives Terry Morriston or Anthony Wayne Mozo, or reappoint progressives April McLaughlin or Neil Brennan. There stands a deep ideological divide between them and the citizens of Citrus County. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none. Board, what's your pleasure?
Madam Chair,
Yes?
last time we had this meeting, I realized we were in the fray. And I felt like I made a motion that I didn't know how it would land because I felt like it'd be unpopular by both groups. I picked somebody down the middle that we obviously have two sides and neither side recommended that person. It was Marie-Elaine Evetts. So I feel like I understand what this board is looking for, and that's to get out of the fray. And, you know, there's people I've worked with in the past and that I like on both sides. And again, this probably won't be wildly popular with them, but I'm hoping it is with this board because I feel like we need to get out of the fray. So what I first did was look at the four that want to be reappointed, and I looked at those names and thought, who's not in the fray or hasn't been? And that was Marie-Elaine Evetts and Edith Ramlow. Then I looked at all the names before and who reached out, you know, who really wanted this position, whether by email, phone call. And I had the opportunity, and who wasn't in the fray again. I had the opportunity to speak to Robert Bramlet, who has a lot of experience and seems to understand the community. And in the past, I spoke to Lenora Jones Nelson. And then here today and reviewing the application, it sounded like Burke Regan, like he said, had no axe to grind. He wants to move the library forward. So, and that, you know, I didn't have the opportunity to talk with him, and that's taking a chance. But, so I will make a motion to appoint Marie-Elaine Evetts, Edith Ramlow, Robert Bramlet, Burke Regan, and Lenora Jones Nelson to this board.
Second.
Any board discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just for the record, and I appreciate everybody coming up here, and we are all passionate about protecting our children, as is the LAB. There is not pornography on display in the children's section. There is not pornography right there in the middle of the library. And by law, you know, there is not pornography allowed in our library systems. So I feel like even though some of you, I know that you care about our children and protecting our county and our morals. But I just have to say, every time y'all say that, it feels like, please just go to the library and see that that's not happening. And if you're being told that, I'm sorry you're being told that, because that is misinformation. There isn't one person up here. I'm a mother. I went to the library. I lived in the libraries. And so, you know, my children didn't check out books I didn't want them to see. So I just needed to say that because it's just a pet peeve. Every time it comes up, it bothers me. I've lived there, and if you ask any of the parents that are going in there, true parents protecting, going to the library is an amazing thing for our children, and it is not a detriment. Thank you.
Nope.
No clapping.
Any other board comments? Seeing none, okay. I share Commissioner Schlebach's dismay because there is an awful lot of misinformation. I invite any of you to go to the library system and have a librarian walk you around. Adam, I assume that they would be happy to show them around through and browse the children's section, browse the young adult section. If you have an issue with something that's on the shelf, there is a process for that. You can fill out paperwork. I cannot support this motion. I do want to reappoint all 4 members. I do think Maria Lane and Ebitz and Edith Ramblo also bring a nice conservative tilt to the board, which is good. The reason I would want to support the 4 going forward is because continuity of board is very important. When you have too many newbies on there, things really do fall apart. I do not believe Ms. Brennan nor Ms. McLaughlin are raging liberals and I'm pretty sure none of them actually talk about LGBTQ except when they're forced to respond to folks worried about it. I couldn't even string the letters together in 21 when all of this came up. I'm the furthest from a quote unquote activist. I also talked to Robert Bramlet at length, and I think that he is, and I wish I had spoken to some of the others, Burke Regan, I think it was how it's pronounced. Just the few minutes at the mic sounded very interesting to me. Robert Bramlet is very much a conservative and would do well on that board. And that starts to move the needle while not completely rejecting what the current board is. So I wanted to let you know the reasons why, because since there's a motion and a second, this may pass, but why I will be voting against it. Would anybody else like to speak now before we vote?
I just have a couple comments.
Yes, ma'am.
As I seconded the motion, I am not saying that April McLaughlin or Neil Brennan doesn't have something to offer this board, but I do believe that I really liked Robert Bramlett and I liked Burt Regan. And I think sometimes just having some fresh set of eyes, what I really liked about Mr. Bramlett was he came with ideas and suggestions about how to implement new thoughts into this process. And I like sometimes when people bring a fresh set of eyes and they're able to offer up something and working with the schools and having other ideas. So I think it's a good balance. I think we're bringing some new people in. I think that's what's being asked for. May not be exactly what they asked for, but I like the pick and I'm going to stick with my vote.
I would be happy to compromise if,
Well, nominations have not ceased.
well, we have a motion and a second, so we need to take a vote on this. I'm going to state my case just in case there's a change in the motion in the second. I do think very strongly that we need some continuity on the board. If we leave at least one of them, either Neil Brennan or April McLaughlin on there and switch out one of the new ones, then I would be in full support of it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
You know, it's hard. And when I was at CASA for 18 years, most of that time, I mean, Neil was on my board. So it's not personal. Does this board want to stay in the fray or get out of the fray? And that's where I am. That's why it's not personal. And like I said, it may be unpopular by both sides, but it seemed to work out with Maria Lane. It seems like everybody's happy. So that's why I'm stepping out.
She's a lovely human being.
Yes. And so I'm going to stick with my motion and hope it carries.
All right. Yes.
Clarification, we've got the 4 seeking reappointment and then 1 to fill it. So we're in essence going to put 5 people on today.
Yes, and the motion is carrying forward Maria Lane, which is brand new on the board. I can't remember how long Edith has been on the board.
Edith's been there many terms.
Okay, then, so we have that continuity. So we essentially are going to have a very, very freshman board. And I am all about new blood and putting new people in and making sure that it's at least half conservative. But I think structurally it's a mistake.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I mean, Robert Bramlet has served on a very similar board for many, many years and has a lot to offer. And I remember when I was speaking with Lenora Jones Nelson, she impressed me of her knowledge of the libraries, and she's an educator and has been for years. And I believe her husband has been too. So, you know, it's not like they're coming out from the cold. You know, these are experienced people.
True. All right. Any further comments?
Have you heard from the whole board?
So again, the 4, I keep hearing so many names, I'm like, okay,
Can you read the motion back?
please.
These are the nominees.
Motion to nominate and reappoint Mary Elaine Evetts, Edith Ramlow, and appoint Robert Bramlett, Lenora Jones Nelson, and Burke Regan as regular members to the Special Library District Advisory Board.
Okay, thank you.
Are you done with the floor?
Yeah, I agree, new blood's always good, then sometimes change just to change isn't good. So I'm torn with people whose loyalty to serving and putting up with less than civil accusations, conversations, whatever, and the fact that they're still willing to serve in the face of that. I find that admirable. We're never going to get 100% of a board that agrees, and you really don't want to. There's got to be checks and balances. So
Yes, ma'am.
that's all I got to say.
All right, I agree. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries 4-2.
I'm sorry, Chair, who was the second one? I didn't hear.
Commissioner Schleba.
It was mine because I really wanted to see, I had 2 new people I wanted to appoint, and I didn't get that nomination.
Thank you.
All right, open to the public again. If you've, anyone like to speak?
Thank you. I feel represented by you, even though I'm sure we never vote the same way. I just, the irony of someone standing here talking about morality and how the libraries are supposed to uphold it while wearing a Trump hat, I'm sorry, it just overwhelms me. The 2 things just don't coincide. But thank you very much for keeping a bigoted, paid lobbyist representing an ultra-right Christian foundation off the library board. You guys done good today. And it's great to see one of you back here healthy.
Thank you, Ms. Fox.
Cindy Redmond, Hernando. I have a question for our representative, Kinate. Why did you not have anything to say about the nominations?
Thank you.
Chair,
Yes.
neither one of these parties stated their name.
Oh, the second one did. The first one was Rita Fox. Rita? Did you not state your name again? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you got to come to the mic. It's public record. You should try having all your email read. It's fun.
Rita Fox, LaCanto, thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
To Jackie's point, Councilwoman Hefner's point, I would say that our libraries are run really well. And thank you to Mr. and Ms. McLaughlin, Ms. McLaughlin, daughter-in-law, I assume. She, what you said about our library system was beautiful. Thank you. I actually more or less grew up at the Crystal River Library as my second home growing up there. And I'm very proud of our library system. So it's good to hear that you think a lot of it. So seeing no more open to the public, we are adjourned.